All right, good afternoon, everyone. I want to introduce our first two speakers, Nick Primola and Raja Manar. And after I do, Nick will come up and speak for about 15 minutes and then followed by Raja's keynote address. Can you hear me? Come up a little bit? That better? Okay, I'll speak louder. So let me start by introducing Nick. Nick Primola is Group Executive Vice President, Global CMO Growth Council for the Association of National Advertisers. In this role, Nick leads the ongoing effort to align the ANA's industry leadership initiatives with the collective actions of the global community of CMOs. Nick is the primary lead for the Global CMO Growth Council, in partnership with Cannes Lions, that coordinates the efforts of the world's top CMOs to drive outcomes that impact the industry. Also, while at ANA, Nick has led multiple business units, including the ANA School of Marketing, the ANA's Member Relations Team, the Alliance for Family Entertainment, CHER, and he has also served as Director on the Marketing Accountability and Standards Board. Prior to ANA, Nick was a Senior Vice President in Corporate Marketing at Citizens Bank in New England, and he also spent over 8 years in New York City at world-class agencies Ogilvy and Y&R Wunderman. He started his career at M&A Bank of America in Delaware. He's a proud graduate of Villanova University, and he's also a Philly native, so we talk about the Eagles all the time, except maybe this year. And with that, let me turn things over to Nick, and then over to Raja.
Hey, I'm Nick Primola with the ANA. It's great to meet you guys. We're just going to kind of move on ahead. So as Paul said, I look after the activities of the Global CMO Growth Council at the ANA. Thank you very much. And what that is a collection of around 1,100 CMOs around the world from brands of all shapes and sizes that are focused on one thing, it's growth. And we could make this a relatively quick conversation. If you're asking about what's on the minds of CMOs, which is what I'm billed as talking about today, it's growth. So you want to, we can continue and talk a little bit about that, but that is it. How do I create value for my organization in a way that drives growth for the company and has a positive impact on society? Society meaning the people that we serve and the planet that we live in. This group here is a snapshot from our get-together last October, but really we started in 2018. We got together in Cannes Lions at the festival there with 25 CMOs of the world's top brands, and we said to them, what's preventing you from driving growth, right? You guys have all the budgets in the world, all the agencies, but if you have one thing that you can either, a problem to solve or an obstacle to move out of the way or just an area we need to do better in, what is that we can collectively attack? And that's what this group is really all about. It started with these 25 in the room, and you'll see here, if you recall, when we used to use these, the easels with the magic markers so long ago, and basically what they answered to that question became our agenda for the industry, right? Because if you think about the industry, what is that? It exists, agencies, consultancies, tech companies, media, production, anyone that's involved in our industry only exists to manage the investment of the CMO. That's theirs on behalf of the business to do what? To drive growth, right? The way that we do that has to be responsible in a way that helps us drive more value, that creates more growth. But it is all about growth. And so that's our agenda for the ANA. And we like to think that is the actual agenda for the industry, because the industries are driven by the investments of the CMO community. And so that's what this is all about. So we actually are executing on this agenda, right? This isn't a community that's, we're a not-for-profit, right? So it's not the community that's getting together for networking and boondoggles and concerts and special VIP treatment. These guys are getting together to actually do the work that's required to create the environment that they need to win and drive more growth for their businesses. So you'll see here literally a who's who, including our next speaker, of CMOs from top brands who are owning this, are rolling up their sleeves, and each of these actually co-chair a working team, one of the 4 working teams that's decked against the areas that we're moving against to advance in the industry. And so there are 4 areas, and I'll kind of get into each of these 4, and that's what I'm going to focus on today. What are the CMOs thinking and prioritizing in relation to these 4 areas? And so the first and foremost one, you can't get any more basic than this, but we still haven't gotten the answer, right? What is the role of marketing? We were just talking about it at lunch. And thank you for the segue. What is the role of marketing within the organization? If you look at Raja, who's coming up next to speak from MasterCard, his role compared to the role of their competition at Visa, compared to American Express, compared to Capital One, now Discover, the companies, if you take most of the roles in the C-suite, are the exact same roles and exact same job descriptions and exact same career paths to get to those roles. If you take the role of the CMO, it couldn't be more different. Their career path, who they report into, one company has one CMO, another one has about 30 CMOs, and they have very different scopes of work that continue to evolve. So why is that and what is that? And so that's what we took on, which is really the role of marketing as brand building, as creating amazing experiences, branding experiences, or creating value for the organization. Most importantly, it's an enterprise-wide function, right? It's an enterprise-wide function with marketing as an orchestrator of that function. And so that's the long and the short of it. So what we've done and what I'm going to do is just kind of share with you some of the work, and you can download this, with the QR code here, or I'll send it out to Peter afterwards. But one of the things that we took is we're moving from campaign to company, right? How does marketing function? It used to be where you're doing advertising campaigns and you're over there in a corner. It's a very nice corner, but you're over there in that corner with your agencies and so forth, creating campaigns and advertising. But now we really need you to help the company grow. Help the entire organization, help the entire franchise be more empathetic, be more relevant, be more agile, and relate to more and more people, right? You're driving growth, and that means you have to sell things to people who aren't currently buying them, right? The example of driving your market. And so marketing has a role to play there. It's a company-wide effort. And so what we're doing here is we've looked into building a culture of creative effectiveness together with work. And that's really not about creative campaigns. That's how do you teach your company or create that culture in your company of the Da Vinci's, right? Less about the designers and the painters, more about the inventors, the innovators that we need in the business to create amazing experiences and value for the consumer. So here we have a nice framework that has been used by several large companies, leading companies, to actually bring that to life. The next thing that the group came up with was that our bosses and our stakeholders in the business, so the CEOs and the people in the C-suite, don't have a common understanding of what marketing does. And that's a problem. That's the most foundational problem. And so we've been talking a lot with marketers about how to get at that, how to improve that, but it's still marketers talking to marketers, right? And so we said, you know what, let's get out of our own echo chamber and get into those who are already talking with the CEOs and the CFOs, which is how do we get into that conversation? And so we're working, getting into more business schools. We worked with McKinsey, working with Bloomberg, Wharton, Fortune magazine to kind of get into that discussion so that what we're trying to do here is not just say do more marketing, right? It's not about do more marketing in recession or brand building is important, right? It's about helping your audience, your CEOs and your CFOs just better understand the function and how it fits in. It's a funky tool that's in the toolbox. It doesn't look like any of the other tools, but you need to be able to use that tool or at least understand what it does and how it works. And that's all we're trying to do here is really just help the end user of marketing better understand marketing. So that's the first part. You could download that as you will. The second area is around data and technology, which enables marketing. And that's so important because if you do anything at the enterprise-wide level, It has to be tech first, tech enabled, with data flowing through the veins of the entire enterprise, all the way through in a loop. And so 0% of the marketers that we talked to said, yes, I'm getting the most out of my investments in data and tech. And this has included SAP, Oracle, and IBM as well, right? So, that's a big area for us to unlock. We are starting to do that. We just released a little bit ago a study on the programmatic supply chain, where about 34% of the marketer's investment is actually getting through to the consumer. And that's not including all the risk and ambiguity all the way throughout the supply chain. And so what would you do, if your engineer came to you or your plumber came to you and said, I'm going to get it 34% correct with your money, right? Why are we accepting that in marketing and what we do to connect with consumers? And so that's a problem there. We have some ways to kind of dissect that and improve upon that as we go. The next area is around people, right? If you have tech and data, you can't really do anything without the people. And marketing is a people-driven industry. What we don't know is what it could look like, right? We do not know what good looks like. And so we created a common capabilities framework for the industry. And we didn't do any big study, 18 months to do this or that. We said to these companies here, and a couple of more that we weren't able to name for confidentiality, give us your competency frameworks, and they did. So then we put it together. We got more input from, actually this list has grown to about 150 different logos, and we created this competency framework. It's around 54 pages of just, what's the role of marketing? How do you create career paths within the function? What are the priority areas? And you kind of assess yourselves against these areas. And so again, this is, for your download here, if you're interested to kind of just get an assessment of where things are. What we hope here is that this is going to be the brief for university curriculum. This will help to be the brief for career pathing and for real talent development versus just, kind of, I know it when I see it, which is not a way to really grow an industry. And the last area out of the four is around what we do to drive growth. We keep saying that, right? Has to have a positive impact on society and sustainability. So the people that we serve and the planet that we live in. But it's not separate. It's totally related. It's totally, one is infusing the other. Creating societal benefit in a positive way is going to help you be more relatable and more compelling to every single segment of the people in our population, which is massively complex, not just from a diversity and inclusive standpoint, but everything that's involved and layered on. You've seen all the missteps of the last year making the news in your brand perception and the culture that we're in with a hypercharged, culture that's only going to get more hypercharged as we get into this election year. And so marketing has a role there and therefore a responsibility to help the company navigate through that. It's not just about doing campaigns that aren't going to piss anyone off. It's about helping the company effectively navigate through that in a way that's meaningful and having a positive impact on the people that we serve and the planet that we live in a way that drives growth. Think about cold water tide as an example, right? A superior product that's better for energy. That's the way you infuse innovation into superior product offering. And then with respect to that, okay, how do we actually do that? We have around a dozen cases and compendiums that professors and you guys can use in your classrooms here that are related to that. These are actual cases from leading brands and how they are infusing sustainability and inclusive innovation into their business growth. So that's for you to download as well. And then you can't go through any presentation without saying the words generative AI. What did we do? We just said, you know what? Everyone's talking about it, but the leaders of the marketing function who represent their brands and the people that they serve, we do not have a voice in this whole thing. So what did we do? We brought in the heads of state into our into our symposium last year, and we said, give us everything that we need to know, but only the things that we need to know about this technology for us to make short and long-term decisions on behalf of the businesses that are going to benefit our brands and the people that we serve. And so what we're doing out of that and you can still see what this is a draft because it caught all my my typos here. Is coming up with the position on generative AI that is representing the voice of brands and their consumers. And it's basically saying, okay, as this evolves, we want it to evolve at the pace that it's going to evolve. We don't want to limit anything, but if we don't employ the lessons learned from digital and social over the last decade, we are criminally negligent in what we're doing. And so that can't be tolerated. Since our investments really fuel much of the platforms that generative AI is going to thrive in and the decisions that and biases, et cetera, we have to have a voice in how we go about making those decisions. And so that's what this is about. It's kind of like setting guidance for what is our desired future state. Again, sticking to our lane, right? Brand building and delivering value to consumers, right? What do we want as a desired state? And what do we absolutely will not tolerate as any sort of risk or biases or any adverse sort of impact on society and sustainability. And so that's essentially what is going on the minds of CMO: growth, 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 and short-term and long-term growth, creating value for the people and planet that we serve. Thank you very much. I think we're just going to go right into Raja next, right? Yeah.